Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sunny with Kieu, where I share my personal stories as a German-Vietnamese living in Ho Chi Minh City. Today is a bit different. Well, I'm not walking at Sala. I'm actually at my school right now, in the classroom, as you can see in the background. Mainly because I overslept on the weekend and I wanted to keep myself accountable to still post regularly. So I decided to record this video during my lunch break. What has happened during the last couple of weeks is I was upstairs on the apartment building where I live. So basically, the landlord has a balcony on the rooftop with plants, and I asked her whether I should help her with watering the plants because it's been really, really hot, and she's a bit older, and I don't want her to go up and down all the time. So last week I was watering the plants. Nice moon in the evening, you could see landmark, and at that moment I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be nice to see stars in Ho Chi Minh City? Right? I was like, what are my plans? See the full moon. I was like, yes. And then I was like thinking, it's August. Usually when I was younger, when I was in my high school, I would go to the lake in the village in August, in the middle of the night, sometimes 10, 11 p.m. I would go out on my own to lay down next to the lake and just see the stars, right? Because during this period, you would see loads of shooting stars actually. So every couple of minutes, you would see a shooting star. And I still remember when I was younger, I was like looking up there, laying down, I was like, whoosh, shooting star. Oh, I wish I had a smartphone. And then the next 5 minutes, whoosh, and I went, oh, I wish I had loads of money. And it would start from having good grades to materialistic things to having a girlfriend. My list was like endless, you know. I was like constantly wishing something. And while I was like watering the plants and remembered those scenes, I was like, too bad that I don't have this chance in Ho Chi Minh City because of the high light pollution, right? So we are living in the biggest city in Vietnam, and obviously it's really difficult to see stars. But that also reminded me of something else regarding to shooting stars, right? I read a quote that said, shooting stars actually don't help or fulfill your wishes, but help you to realize what's truly important to you. And I think this quote is so powerful because I still remember when I was in New Zealand, really beautiful landscape, and we did loads of camping, and I remember I was like sitting outside and saw shooting stars. And I guess it's because of the age when you're older, you actually think about what you would wish, right? You close your eyes and then you think about it. I wish I, whatever, ABC, right? So I think it's a really powerful thing that that people connect the shooting star thing to something that they really truly feel and treasure, right? Unfortunately, in Ho Chi Minh City, I don't get this chance too often, but I was like also reminding myself, there's another technique that I do in order to remind myself of the important things that I need to do. Usually it's related to work when I'm too overwhelmed and don't know what to focus on, right? Or what's truly important to solve right now. So I read a book called Hyperfocus, and in this book they teach this technique called scatter focus. So basically it's having a piece of paper and just observing your mind. It's like similar to observing the sky for shooting stars, but for me it's like observing your mind and just note out all the random things that come up into your mind. And I think it's a wonderful technique. It doesn't have to make any sense, you don't have to evaluate it, you just note it out. After like a 5-minute period, you dig deeper, and the more you observe, the more comes out. And afterwards, you actually highlight, or I highlight, the things that are truly important and put them into priorities, and suddenly I have a list where I know what's truly important, what I need to do, or what I should pay attention to. So that was something that happened lately, right? And I don't know, maybe it's the universe. Not only do I have always quite clearly now what's truly important to me, but obviously just knowing what you need to do, but not doing the work or not appreciating it or investing into it, then it's also nonsense, right? Knowing what you want but don't do anything about it. And I was actually in the gym when I saw a TikTok video, and it was like saying, this guy was in an interview and said, all the magic that you wish for lies in the work that you try to avoid. And I was like, I just did my rep and looked at the video. I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. I put the phone away and did another 12 push-ups and I was like almost dying again. But I thought that was another really powerful quote reminding me that I constantly have to work to get something. So just looking at the shooting star or just looking at the piece of paper is kind of wishful thinking. It's good that you know what you really want, but not putting the effort into it. It's like, well, you have it and then you forget it again. And I guess that's also what motivated me to take my camera to school to actually record, even though I could have said, maybe I'll just record it on the next weekend when I'm running again, right? Sometimes I need to kick myself in the butt and keep myself accountable as well, because it is true. Nothing that we truly want and design has value comes on its own. Rarely it does. And I also need to remind myself not only to focus on the things that, or remind myself of what's truly important to me, but that I also need to put in the work. Because sometimes life gets too comfortable and then we forget it or we put it aside, right? So yeah, that was my take for today, my thoughts on this topic about shooting stars, keep yourself accountable, work hard for your dreams, because yeah, in the end, you have to take it. Because there was also a random thought on an audio in a German book that I think about because I'm teaching B1 too. There's an audio of a guy who gives advice to younger students, and in German he says, Glück, das ist ein Versprechen, aber das Glück müsst ihr euch selbst holen. Means luck or success or whatever you want to define it is a promise. But in order to get this, you need to do it on your own. Yeah, that was my final take on this. What are your things? What is your biggest wish? How do you remind yourself of what's truly important to you? And how do you build your habits maybe? How do you keep yourself accountable to constantly work towards it? Is it easy for you? Is it hard? If you have nice tips, share it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you next week, hopefully for another episode at Salah, where we walk and talk. And don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, and I actually have a blog that you could follow. I will link the substack below, Son of a Viet. If you prefer reading, check out my blog. See you next week.